shows that if you're passionate, you can make it even if you start late. And I based pretty quickly on my drinks on travels though, like I travel a lot, like maybe too much. I've been to 89 countries. This year it was like 29, it's a lot of gashi, a lot of pop-ups. It's amazing because you get to see all the bar scenes, you get to see not only the big guys, but as well all the little guys that no one talk about. For example, last week I was in Kazan, in Russia, and discovered like this bar scene that was pretty incredible with a lot of variety. So, the bars. This is working well. Mace Kaido. Mace is in New York, first bar we opened in 2014, 15, Danico 2016, Kaido is in Miami. We opened that last year, it's going to be a year. So basically you have the design. Mace is a bar that is based on spices. It's in East Village in New York. Most of the drinks are like really like, you know, there's no even name of drink. The name of the drink is the name of the spice. Very straightforward, very easy to understand. Danico, it's the bar we opened in Paris, in Galerie Vivienne. It's inside a restaurant. Same, more like not a concept, but more a classic style of drinks. Not in a drink in design because we have a lab as well, but in a concept, in a place. And Kaido is the place we opened in Miami last year. It's in the design district. We opened that to a friend of mine who's a very good chef in Miami. It's actually for me the best chef in Miami. He went many times at the Chance Beer Awards and won many awards. He makes fantastic food, and I always wanted to work with a chef that's very talented. So we opened that place together, which is more like a cocktail lounge. You know, we have a lot of food, but it's not a restaurant. All right, so that gone. Let's go into that. So as I said before, like this is the place where I've been around the world, and I show that because it shows like how much it's important in my drinks. How much I get inspired from all the bars, from restaurants, from street food, from street drinks, all the time. If I design a menu, I'm not going to do, okay, so it's time to do a drink with vodka, it's time to do a drink with Disar. No, I'm going to start from flavors. Like for example, when I went to Japan, I tried the dessert in a restaurant that was wasabi and pomelo. And I always write it on my iPhone, and then I have a file on my computer where I put everything together, so it's all stuck in it. And every time I do a menu, I open that file, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is going to be cool. So for example, I took that flavor, wasabi, pomelo, and I was like, okay, and I started thinking about the paloma, and then we started thinking about tequila, and we did a twist of the paloma with the smoked pomelo cordial and the wasabi tequila. But to show you, it's all start from flavors, and then bring like the classic skeletons, all the classic drinks into it. And if you travel, you have more like a wide opening of flavors. You have like stuff sometimes that spices that you never be able to find in your own countries. So of course, you know, it's hard to put it on the menu because you need to bring so much of it. So, but sometimes we bring just a little bit, and I use it either for a special night or for pop-up. So it's very interesting. So on techniques, we're going to talk about quickly about, you know, like the basic stuff. I'm going to do the average of it because like clarification, for example, I do a seminar about clarification that's about an hour and a half. So you get very deep into it. So I'm just going to show the surface of it and show a bit like the why we do that, how we do it, and what's the point. Because, you know, sometimes you do things, but there's no point of it. Clarification. What's clarification first? Some people misconfuse that. Clarification is not getting a liquid transparent like water. You won't be able to achieve something like that because in water you have, in liquids you have two types of particles mainly. You have the pectins that are particles in suspension, and those particles reflect the light. So the light is going to come to it and going to be reflected by those particles. So you're not going to be able to see through the liquid. But when you clarify it, you're going to be able to break those down, and you're going to be able to see through the liquid. Like that, or even like that. You know, you can see through the liquid. This like would be a clarified cocktail. But you have in the liquid some molecules that's very, very tiny, and they already dissolve. And those are the molecules that bring the color. So this you won't be able to take it off. That's unless you have like very like high-end machine, but it's no bartender has that. Why do you clarify drinks? There's different reasons. You know, like first for me the best one is the milk punches. I love milk punches. It's if you ask me, it's my favorite type of cocktail. I've been doing it on all my menus since 2010. There's no drink that gives for me that mouthfeel, that layers, that texture. It's really amazing. Actually, we're going to have one drink coming soon, and I'll explain when you have it, but that's a milk punch that's made with Disar. So when you clarify the milk punch, you use basically like, I don't know if you've done it, but you use milk most of the time, and you curdle the milk, and you're going to break down the casein and the whey protein in it, and the casein, the curd of the milk, will be a filter agent to clarify the drinks. So basically, you do your punch all together, and you put some acidity, so it can be like either like citric acid, malic acid, it can be lemon juice, lime juice, and the milk will break down in curdle, and then you filter in a super bag, or what's called as well like any coffee filter if you do a small batch, and that is going to start at the bottom, and when the drink is going to run through it, it's going to clarify the whole cocktail. Basically the same technique as a consommé, you know, one of the oldest clarification recipe for cooking, but this time we use it for cocktail. So that's a good reason. If you want to carbonate drink, I don't know if you try to carbonate cocktail, but try to carbonate a cocktail that's been clarified before, and non-clarified, you'll see the difference. The fact the cocktail is clarified, it's going to make it more fizzy, the bubbles are going to attach more together, and the mouthfeel will be way better. So if you want to make a fizzy drink that's really nice and stay fizzy, try to clarify as much as you can. Clarify the lime juice, clarify the lemon juice, clarify if you use any puree of fruits, clarify as much as you can. If you want to batch, I have to speak faster? No, that's why I said and if you want as well to batch, if you do events, it's really good to clarify your stuff because there's not going to be oxidation, and you know, it's like when we all talk about lime and lemon juice, how much it's important to have it fresh, where it's oxidized very fast. Well, you can't control that if you do a big event, but if you clarify your lime or your lemon or any juice like cucumber juice before your event, your batch is going to stay longer at the same taste without oxidation. A milk punch, you can do a milk punch and leave it on a bottle in a wine cellar at not at a high temperature because it's going to ferment, but you can leave it for years if you want. You know, like the first milk punch we found out was in 1710. So a very long time ago. People think clarified milk punch is a new technique, but no, it's been there for a long time. And the guy we think created, he was keeping bottles in his cellar, and when he died, they found bottles of milk punch in his cellar that was some more than 5 years old, and it stays because it's clarified. There's no oxidation. So it's an amazing stuff to clarify. But again, I'm not going to go too deep into that. It's a big seminar I already do, and it's very complex. Why I don't like to clarify stuff? It's only for the visual aspect. It doesn't make any sense. Take, for example, a daiquiri. Okay, so imagine you want to make a clear daiquiri because it looks cool. So of course you're going to use white rum, you're going to use simple syrup, and you're going to clarify lime juice. But then if you want to make it clear, I see people do it. They stir the daiquiri. What the fuck you stir a daiquiri? You know, it's like a drink. You know, the point of a daiquiri is to shake very hard and to create those millions of bubbles, and the drink is alive. It has a nice mouthfeel. If you stir it, it's just flat. It's not good. So same, you know, like you want to do clear stuff, cool, but you have to think why you do it and think about the flavors first, and then the visual aspect. So the drink you should have is a milk punch. That actually we're gonna have it tonight. So if you come to we have tonight, we're gonna serve it. So same, you know, we put So this one is a bit, milk punch, you do a big part of milk, big part of dilution, because every punch you do, you dilute before. So in this case, we take coconut water, infuse it with togarashi. Togarashi is a blend of Japanese spices. We put green tea into it, and that we leave it for 24 hours with lemon juice. After that, we add the Disar. We add some overproof rum to give a little kick. Apple juice, lemon juice. We take the milk, boil it. When the milk is very hot, start boiling, you take it off, add a little bit of lemon into it. It's gonna curdle. You mix everything together, leave it stand for a little while, and then you start putting it in the super bag, and it's gonna start clarifying. If you do a small batch, it's gonna take you can do it in a few hours. We usually do batches of 22 liters, which is amazing because then, for speed of service, you just pour it. And it's very complex. We did a guest shift at Provocateur at Athens Bar Show last month. And what we do with my bar manager, we do only milk punches. And we did 5. We served 315 cocktails in 1 hour and 45 minutes. This is just a bam, 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 bam. People were ordering, it's very easy to drink, very nice. And then the guest shift was supposed to be 4 hours and we will run out of drink. So, very good as well for quality of service, speed of service. You serve it very fast. It's a bit of pain on the ass to make it, but once you have it, you have 22 liters, and then you're good to go. So if you have 2 on your menu, speed of service is going to be very good, and you're going to have time to smile and talk to your customer. That's amazing. All right. So basically that's the drink. We'll have it tonight. It's already diluted. The only point is to serve it cold, and usually we'll serve it on ice. So you just stir it a little bit to add a tiny bit more dilution, and that's it. It's really good. All right, sous vide. Sous vide, it's so another one. I think sous vide is the one that maybe most of us start using now. Again, it's a very, very, very big subject with a lot of complexity according to the ingredients you use, why are you using it, the alcohol you use, the temperature, the time. But it's a very good tool for 2 things. Three. First, the syrups. You're going to make syrup way faster. The infusions. You're going to make infusions way faster. And the resting cocktail. Resting cocktail is Tony Guillermo created that. A while ago. He realized that if you were aging a cocktail like a Manhattan in a bottle. And I'm not talking about barrel aged cocktail, which involves wood and Cheshire. I'm talking about a resting cocktail, like a wine. You put it in a bottle and you leave it in the wine cellar, and you leave it 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 year, the time you want. And he realized that if you cook the cocktail sous vide, so of course, thank you. If you take the cocktail, so that's the point of the sous vide, you take the air off of the bag, you close it. And you cook it at the temperature you want. So that would be if you work in a restaurant, if you have the budget for that. It's called a bain-marie. Basically, it's a big machine. You set up the temperature you want, and the water is going to move, and it's not going to change, and it's going to cook your cocktail. That's the sous vide machine, vacuum machine. It's going to put your cocktail in a bag. It's going to suck the air off, and then close the bag, and you put it in here. Most of us, we have this. It's called ANOVA system. You can buy it on Amazon for $150. And you take any kind of combo like big container, you set that up at the temperature you want. It's going to go the water with the temperature, and you put your bag in it and the time you want. So same. So if you put that cocktail sous vide for half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, it creates the same mix that if you age in bottles. All right. It's going to basically put all the flavor down together, mellow the raw flavor. Imagine a cocktail would be like a star, with all kinds of flavors. It's going to be more like a bowl. It's going to really round up the shape and make the mouthfeel way better, and more like a less aggressive part of the cocktail will be gone. So it's a very good step to do, because you can basically age if you've been to Germany in London, they do a lot of Negroni like that. Syrups, you know, like you're gonna do like, sometime you want to infuse, you're gonna cook stuff. It's gonna be water evaporation, the flavor will be gone, you don't control the temperature. This is, you can do a syrup. It's gonna be for 5 hours. If you want it at 15 degrees, you can do it for high temperature. It's gonna be very fast. And for infusion, it's the same. If you want to infuse, you can get infusion like very fast. Like imagine you want to put pineapple and vodka and leave it in a container in a jar for like 4 days, 5 days. Well, you can do it in half an hour with a sous vide, so very fast. And you get like as well, you know, some flavors. If you infuse, for example, some ingredients for too long, you're gonna get some bitterness. So you don't want to do that, but with sous vide, it's gonna be so short that you're gonna get only the right flavor into it. The only thing you have to care about is some ingredients that don't react very well with the heat, so you have to know your ingredients. Every ingredient can be different. You know, we're not going to do mint with that, because the heat's going to be like a very hot salad flavor that you don't want at all. But yeah, it's a good tool, and we start doing that a lot for like, oh yeah, so I wanted to show that as well. Most of the people as well don't have a vacuum machine. We don't have at Mace in New York a vacuum machine, because to get a vacuum machine you need a fucking license that costs $10,000. So we don't have it, and it's not something you can hide. You know, you don't put it in a drawer and the inspector they come. So a good technique is the zip bag. You know, a zip bag, everyone knows that. You put your sandwich when you go picnic, and so that's the same technique. You put everything you need. Obviously not that, it's like more food, but put everything into the zip bag, and you're gonna plunge it in water, and the pressure of the water on the bag is gonna extract all the air out. So you bring the bag, like basically, like imagine the bag, you open, you leave just a little bit opening like that, you plunge the bag in the water until there's just a little bit of it, and you close it. And it's gonna really take much of the air out, it's gonna get 90% of the job done, and then you leave it like that with your Aneva system. So yeah, so we do a lot of cool drink with it. We do like sometimes mix of like aging, resting, and infusing. For example, like I had a drink. There's a drink in Peru called chicha morada. So when you travel, when I was in Peru for the first time, I was a broke backpacker. I was, traveling in South America with maybe a budget of like 25 euros a day. I was taking bus, I was eating in a very cheap restaurant on the side of the road. But everywhere you go in Peru, they give you a bowl of rice, chicken, some soup. They always give you a jar of a drink that's very purple for chicha morada. It's very good. They boil the water with peppercorn, with pineapple skin, with green apples, some cinnamon, some limes, some sugar, and they boil it for like a few hours, and then they strain it, and that's the drink. And it's very, very nice, a lot of flavors, and I always love that drink, so I always try to use it in cocktails. So what we did, we took a Manhattan, we took exactly the same recipe that you can find for good chicha morada, but we replaced the water amount by Manhattan. Cook it sous vide for a few hours, and then strain it. And what you have left over, it was a Manhattan that was resting, so basically around like, maybe let's start like 3 months, with the after flavors of the chicha morada. So you have two stuff in one. Next one. So next drink you're gonna have, that's actually, I'm laughing because of the name. You know that song, My Horse is Amazing, Look at My Horse, My Horse is Amazing. It's, if you don't know it, Google it after you're gonna laugh. But anyway, I wanted to do like something with Disar. One of the most famous drinks with Disar is the Godfather. So I wanted to keep the same structure. Of course, Godfather is bourbon, a bit of Disar and bitters. I did it with rum. I wanted to more be on the tropical side. So we did a fat wash. I'm going to talk about just after that. With the rum, some Disar in it, some popcorn bitters that we infuse to it actually. So same, the bitters. I don't go crazy with bitters. I don't do create my bitters for 1 month. So I think it's just a lot of time consuming. We have so many bitters on the market. I just take one with the flavor I like, and I'm going to infuse it sous vide with anything I want. For this one, we took some popcorn, the one you buy for the microwave. You put the butter popcorn in the microwave, and you infuse it in Angostura bitters. Do fat wash with it, done. And pandan. If you know pandan, pandan is my second love. It's a leaf from Southeast Asia. They do a lot of. You must have it at some point. They use it in cake. They use it to flavor rice. It's for sweets, for salty food. It gives. There's no ingredient in the world for me that have that complexity in a finish. When you have the drink with pandan, you're gonna have all the flavors from the drink, and then it's gonna stop, and then you're gonna have a long finish that can stay up to 1 minute with the pandan. It's an amazing ingredient. So to come back to that, 3 techniques in that. You have the coconut fat wash. So I'll be back on the fat wash in a second. You have the sous vide with the popcorn, and then we put the cocktail together and we cook it sous vide for 2 hours at 52.5 degrees. So that's going to be, again, the same stuff that you have for the resting. If you want more of that, we'll have some tonight. So fat wash, it's very not complicated at all. It's infusing fat into a spirit. The first one that used fat wash, if you know him, it's Donley. I mean, the first one I know was Donley at PDT. He did the Blenden's Old Fashioned. That was for me a very revolutionary drink. He used bacon fat, so he cooked the bacon, he used the fat and infused it in a bourbon, and he did an Old Fashioned with that. It was with maple syrup and some bitters. Amazing drink. Mouthfeel amazing as well. What is it? You just infuse fat in liquid, in a spirit. So that's the easy part. And then you need to separate it. That's the hardest part, but when you know it, it's not very hard. Basically, you know, like the fat, they have a solidification temperature that are very different. But the good technique to do, you infuse it the time you want, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you taste it, you have the nice flavor you want, and then you put it in the freezer. And what's going to happen, the alcohol will stay liquid, and the fat will solidify. Then you just strain it. It's going to take off 99.9% of the fat. Again, coconut oil, I think, has a solidification temperature around like 20 degrees, so you don't even have to put it in a freezer, you put it in the fridge, that will be enough. I don't know if you notice, if you have coconut oil in your kitchen, in summer it's liquid, when in winter it's hot. The melting temperature is very high. Some oil, very good oil, at a freezing temperature like -6, -7, -8, -10. So for that you need even a freezer. Sometimes it won't be enough because it won't freeze enough. So what you can do for that is use that. It's called a separatory funnel. Basically, you know, like you're gonna have your bourbon and your olive oil, let's say, because olive oil is a hard one sometimes, and the density of both are different. So what's gonna happen is like you're gonna have the bourbon at the bottom, and it's gonna separate, and you're gonna have the oil at the top. You open this. Slowly, the liquid is going to go down, and when you see the line with the fat here, you just close it, and then that's it. The job is done. Very good tool. Very good tool as well to have if you do like anything with sediments, because and you want to clarify, you want to separate. That's going to be the opposite. The sediment will be at the bottom. You open it slowly. You don't want to open too fast because then they create bubbles and move it again. And then when you want to take it off, like the head and tail in a distillation, it's good tools to have. The same again, you order it on Amazon, it's very easy. Centrifuge infusion, so that's one that if you're one of the lucky to have a centrifuge, you can do a lot of stuff with it. She took off the picture of the centrifuge. Well, it's basically what we had at the... Anyway, that's a centrifuge. It's a machine that spins around 4,000 rounds per minute, if you have a good one. So what happens, you take any, so the infusion, the Justin infusion was created by Dave Arnold. If you know him, he's one of the master genius. He wrote a book called Liquid Intelligence. if you want to know anything about those techniques, buy this book. Amazing book, very geeky, a lot of numbers, but it's very good to understand all those techniques. And one day I go to his bar. He had the bar. Now he has existing position. He had the bar called Booker and Dax, and I was like, I had a drink with banana, and never had so much flavor, intense flavor of banana in a drink before. And I asked him, well, how do you do that? Because I tried everything I could with banana, I couldn't get the right flavor. He said it's called Justino. So what you do, you blend bananas, the bananas with strong flavors, the black one, and you blend it with the rum. You leave it infused the time you want. But if you strain it, if you don't have a centrifuge, it's going to be like a puree. It's going to be impossible to separate. Now if you have a centrifuge to spin it super fast, it's going to separate with the speed, the solid and the liquid. And you're going to have like at the bottom after like 10-20 minutes, like a cake. Oh, bonjour. You have like a sponge cake at the bottom, and then you're going to have the liquid that's infused at the top. You decant it slowly, and you have your infusion. Again, like having a centrifuge is it's quite an expensive tool. Dave Arnold created recently a tool called Spinzall. So it's kind of like something that costs maybe like $700, so way more expensive. It's like kind of a small centrifuge. It does the work for most of the things if you're very patient. It's just a pain in the ass to clean. You have to clean it all the time, but it's if you don't have anything, I think it's a good thing to have. So that's another example. It was a milk punch we did with we did the banana Justino, and then we clarify again the whole thing. Acid modification, that's a good one. When I start bartending, I was like, every bartender should do. First, do only fucking classic all the time. Know your classics, know your recipes, know where everything comes from. After that, you move. It's like if you're a chef, you're not going to do stuff that El Bulli does at the beginning. You peel potatoes, you make ratatouille, and after that, you move on. And I was always like classic hotel, I couldn't understand. You might disagree with me, we all have different tastes, but there's some drink that I always hate, like blood and sand. I always hate that drink, it's so unbalanced. Equal parts, if you know it, I hope you know it, it's equal parts of scotch, sweet vermouth, sherry, and oranges. Brown Derby is another one. Bourbon and honey and grapefruit. Flat, horrible. And the worst of the worst for me is the Bronx. Gin, sweet vermouth, dry vermouth, oranges. Oh my god, I wouldn't even serve that to my worst enemy. But I was wondering, maybe at that time when they made the drink, because we all take recipe as granted, but they're all written such a long time ago. Maybe the guy who wrote it was drunk. I hope it's not the case. But maybe the orange they were using for that recipe were very acidic at the time. Maybe the spirit they used was not as good, because we have so many good spirits today, but they didn't have that at the time, so they had to hide some bad flavors as well with sweetness and sourness. But anyway, the important stuff in that was like the acidity, so I start adding a bit of lemon juice to those drinks, just to give a bit more balance. I would add a dash of lemon juice in the blood and sand, all of a sudden it would be more alive and more bright. I would add a dash of lemon to the brown derby also. No one ever ordered that fucking drink, but it will be better. And then I was thinking again, why we don't use acids, so acid modification. Every fruit, every vegetable have a different amount of acid in it. Even milk has like stuff called lactic acid. So citrus have mostly citric acid. Like the lime is a bit mostly citric, bit of malic. The lemon is mostly citric. Apples, mostly malic. You have grapes, champagnes, tartaric acid. So I was like, why don't you just use the juice and add acid in it? So you would take the brown derby, take the grapefruit juice, add a bit of citric acid, and then the drink will be more balanced. And after that, I started thinking, but why do we only use bonjour? Why do we only use a lemon lime? When we do a cocktail, you have a base, okay, it's a spirit. Now we have hundreds and hundreds of spirits, hundreds of different flavors. You take the syrup. Even if you're not creating crazy syrups, and you took at the classic cocktail, you still have grenadine, orgeat, cinnamon, rich, demerara. We have a lot of different foods, but every time we want to give acidity to it, we always use lime and lemon. It's boring, no? Why we don't use other things? And with acid, you can basically take any type of other flavors. Take a pineapple juice. You bring the acidity up and the pH down. So pH is how you measure the acidity. And you're going to be able to, instead of using 20 ml of lemon juice, you use 20 ml of pineapple juice, where you bring the acidity, so the pH is around 2.2 or 2.3, like the lime or the lemon. And all of a sudden you have another flavor coming to the cocktail. And you can play with that with carrot, with, whatever you want. And we play around with a lot of stuff like that. The Mace cocktail is the one we have at Mace. It was that, it was beetroot juice, apple aquavit, and I put lemon juice and orange and peach. It's just so much juice in it. It was like this is too juicy. But then I reduced down all the juice and put acid to give the acidity, and all of a sudden the drink was balanced. So yes, that's all the drink. Oh yeah, and the cool part as well. You see the little Smurf? I love Smurfs. A lot of people criticize me for that fucking drink, Nico De Soto with his fucking Smurf. But it's kind of a joke actually. Before I was a bartender, I was always drinking vodka and infusing it with candies. And one day, before I moved to Australia, and that's where I became a bartender in Australia. I love techno, so we have a big group of friends. We hired a bus and we all went in it. And I said to everyone, "Okay, I'm leaving soon. Everyone brings a bottle of vodka with candies in it, infused." So I did the Smurf. We all get so drunk, and most of us I think puked before we arrived at the party, which was an amazing party. But and I was like, fuck, with all this technique today, why not trying with that for a little bit? So we cooked with the vodka. We put some Skinos mastic into it, and then the interesting part for that is the acidity. We do an acid solution, water and acid. I'm talking about citric acid and everything because. I'm saying that because it's very funny. We did with Thibaut, my head bartender at Danico, we use that stuff for Burning Man. So we went 2 years in a row in Burning Man, which is a big techno festival in the middle of the desert. It's amazing and horrible at the same time. And there we were taking care of the bar because everyone has to bring something to Burning Man. Either you clean, either you help with cooking, and we're bartenders, so we thought, well, let's do a bar. And we of course, in Burning Man, it's the middle of the desert, it's far. The point is to have less waste as possible. So one of the good things is we won't bring lime, we won't bring lemon, we just bring water and a big bag of citric acid and a big bag of